What's going on, guys? Ed here from ClicksGeek, and we're back with another Google Ads Agency Roundtable. I am back with Nick, and I'm back with Mark. What's up, fellas?
What we doing?
Awesome. All right. So we lost a little bit of weight here. We don't have Rob. We don't have Dustin. It's all good. We're going to proceed and have a good conversation. So today we are going to talk about a couple things. First, we're going to dive into a common question we get as agency owners and business owners in general. But why should someone do business with you, with your agency, as opposed to going with a local competitor, a national competitor? Why you? So to throw you on the spot, Nick, why should someone work with you?
Yeah, this is a common question we get, and it's a valid question. We usually the way we answer that is that, why should I use your guys' group over top of using the local guy that I know? The local guy is in the Chamber of Commerce with me. I think he runs a pretty good business. So the way we combat that is, they might be good at PPC and they might be great at it, honestly, but they more than likely don't know real estate. And if they don't know real estate, which is the niche that we're in, if they don't know the niche that we're in, then they're going to be spending your money for the first 6 months to get up to speed with what we do. And at that point, they might be able to compete with us. But then even at that point, we're going to see some cyclical stuff happen. We're going to see Google change some stuff. And we've got hundreds of accounts that are running across the country. So we have that data behind what we do for our single off clients that allows us to stay ahead of the curve on that. So when people ask, why not use this local guy? It's a really nice guy. And more than likely, there's a large setup fee. There's a contract with it. We don't do the contracts. We're not presently doing setup fees. But then at the same time, we had that conversation back with them is, you should be the one giving us the information on the local market. It shouldn't be you going and leaning on a PPC company to do that. And then when they ask about the national brand, that's another one we get. Is there's some large national brands out there that will be players in every market. They'll do everything for everyone. And the problem with that is that more than likely they've got a junior member working on that account, not really paying too much attention, not having a conversation with them each month to see what's going on, and not really committed to the success of that account, because there's thousands of accounts that they deal with day in and day out. So it's pretty straightforward and simple, the conversation we have with those people when they ask that question. Yeah, your local guy might be, or gal might be good. They might be great at what they do. We actually just took over an account from somebody that was doing a fairly good job, and then when they got into another market, they couldn't do it. So that's a common question we have, and that's sort of how we answered, is you can completely work with that group. But at the same time, we've got all the data here. We know what we're doing. We're going to end up getting you out of the gate a lot quicker.
Awesome. Okay. So instead of going generalized agency, go to a PPC specialist, and then within a PPC specialist, go to someone that specializes within your niche, it sounds like. Yeah. Kind of like if you get your hand crushed in your car door, you want to go to a doctor, but not just a doctor, an orthopedist, but not just an orthopedist that specializes in hand surgery is kind of what you're referring to.
Yeah, it's a great way to, I like that analysis. That's cool. Not just a doctor, could be a veterinarian, you don't know.
Right? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And could be me. I play a doctor on TV sometimes. Yeah. Awesome. All right, Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, that is a great question. And, I think there's a couple of different ways I want to answer it. One is that going back to what you just said, we do Google Ads. If you want a Google Ads expert, come to us, because that's what we do. Now, if you want a well-rounded agency that's going to be able to handle your Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and everything else, we're probably not a good fit. I put it more back to the client. Back in the days when I was in IT and software, and especially purchasing software, when we went to purchase a software solution, I'd make everyone list their top 3 to 5 most important criteria. You can decide then whether I match you, as opposed to me sitting here trying to tell you why I'm the greatest thing since sliced bread and you should work with me. I can tell you what we do. I'll tell you how we do it. I'll tell you, our time frames. I'll give you all the information. But in the end, you as the client should have that criteria. What am I looking for? What do I want to pay? What type of time frames? What type of experience do I want them to have? Unlike some other agencies, we're not very specifically niched because we do white labels. So if someone comes and says, do you do hand surgeons in do you specialize in or have a ton of experience in hand surgery, orthopedic surgeons? I'm like, no, we have a ton of experience in medical, have a ton of experience with setting up Google Ads in a way that works and finding high converting keywords, but we're not that specialist. So you should really have your criteria lined up for what are the top 3 to 5 most important things you want in your vendor, and then see if they match, and then find 2 or 3 that match, pick the one that does. Your local person may or may not. The chances when you say local, what that seems to me is I am an agency serving a bunch of customers in my region. That's fine, but we probably do web design, and we probably do Facebook, we probably do SEO, and we probably do this and that, and we probably do 50% account management and about 40% work. But that's a comment on agencies in general that we don't need to go down at this moment. But yeah, I think you have to know what you're looking for. And if you're in a very specific niche and someone else is in that, it's almost a no-brainer. In a situation like Nick's in, it's almost a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. That's an endorsement right there. It's no-brainer to go with Nick if you're in that niche. Yeah.
And I think I think part of it is dependent on if you are a retail customer, like a business owner, or if you're an agency owner looking for white label. So how you search for a particular vendor is going to differ based on
absolutely
the criteria. Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you guys there. So to kind of play in the same vein, let's talk. Let's say you're actually, we could say it both ways. So let's say you're a business owner dealing with Nick, and you're an agency owner dealing with Mark selling white label. Should they be going with an agency or with a contractor? And which is better in both scenarios? So it kind of plays on what we spoke about last week with agency versus hiring in-house. So kind of the same vein, but a little bit different. Nick, what's your take? Hiring an agency versus hiring a contractor to fill the work?
Well, full disclosure, I wanted to be a contractor when I started down this path. I wanted to be a consultant that was solo.
Out of my mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I really, and then became an agency based on what the needs of my clients were. Right. So I don't think there's anything wrong with contractors. I think the difference that you get with contractors to agencies is sometimes contractors can actually be more expensive than agencies because agencies like mine are dealing with the, with the law of efficiencies. So we've got 165 active clients. So we have people that are specializing in specific things inside a niche, inside Google, inside of Facebook, inside all those paths. So when you're working with an agency, depending on what kind of conversations you have with the agency, and depending on how committed they are to your success, I think the agency will win over on that, because there might be things that turn up that a contractor or you just wouldn't see, right? Unless that contractor is coming in and presenting themselves as the contractor and then have a bunch of back office help as well. But if you have a contractor come in, I think that contractor's job is potentially more or less to advise and point, hey, do this, this, and this. And that's more of a consultant contractor in that sense too. So there's only so much time in the day for a contractor to do work. You're probably going to pay, like, if somebody was to come to me and said, I want you to work on my stuff, I don't want anybody in your office to work on it, I'm going to charge an absorbent amount of money to make them turn away from that idea. And then even at that time, my time's limited. So, I might not be the best for a certain aspect. If they're asking for display, if they're asking for YouTube inside their Google ads, I'm not the specialist in the office for that. So I think that's short-sighted to do that. It all depends on the situation though.
Got it. All right. Mark, how about you?
Yeah, there's all kinds of different aspects of that you could talk about. I think one of the things you have to look at is, are they a new contractor? Are they just new to the contracting world, or are they an experienced contractor? If they're an experienced contractor, they've been doing it for a while, they've already figured out what their rates are. They're probably more expensive. They're probably less likely to prioritize you. So if you want someone who's readily available most of the time and is really hungry, then you have a new contractor that might not know as much and might not have as much experience. You really have to know what you're looking for. Again, when you hire that contractor. And I would recommend, if you go down that route, use them for a few small hour projects here and there, get the sense of them. The other thing with contractors is they have a tendency to disappear sometimes. If a contractor finds someone who's more important than you,
Yep.
or pays more money than you, they're going to be real hard to get a hold of.
Right.
And I don't blame them.
Yep.
Frankly, I would do it. Now, the other thing is, if they're large enough, are they really a contractor, or they're a contractor that's kind of an agency in the background because they're subbing out the tasks and
Yep.
things like that. The other thing from our perspective, there's advantages to being a contractor as opposed to running an agency. And Nick brought some of that up. We didn't, most of us start out as contractors, and you have to make that difficult transition, which is something to talk about another day. But with the agency, we've got 5 builds going right now. You can't do that with a contractor. If someone brings us 3 new clients, we can build those because I know who's busy on the team. I can't design a landing page, so I'd have to contract that out anyway. We have people on our team that can build landing pages, and we have people on our team, frankly, that can look behind my launch and check out my campaign to see if I missed anything, to see if there's anything that I could do differently. You get different sets of eyes on things. So there's advantages and disadvantages, as in everything else. I think managing contractors is really hard, but it really suits when someone's a micromanager.
Yeah.
And possibly not looking to scale.
Got it. I like it. Okay. Couple of other things I'd throw in there. In my mind, when I think contractor versus an agency, I think contractors don't come with infrastructure, meaning not coming with CallRail or a landing page software. Or call tracking or landing page software or reporting software. They tend to just go in, work with current infrastructure, current Google Ads account, maybe website, no landing page, no call tracking, or maybe Google call tracking. So less bells and whistles to really dial in performance in a campaign that I think should be standard out of the box if you're running an agency. I know Nick runs 2 websites and uses a different approach because of the niche he's in. Mark, I know you use landing pages, call tracking, reporting, and Nick, I know you do reporting. Whether it's free reporting with Data Studio or paid reporting, it's something I think needs to be built in if you're running an agency. And I don't think you're going to get that kind of stuff with a freelancer or a contractor. And then I think the biggest one is, or 2 biggest ones, is they do tend to disappear or have a propensity to disappear. So you have that lack of accountability, but then the better they get, the more they're going to charge, or the less they're going to be available to help you, on your account, just by sheer economics that they're in business for themselves. They want to make more money. The better they are, the more they attract. Either they have to charge more or put less time on your account. So
they also have a tendency to say yes more often. Like if there's something that we don't do, aren't good at, or don't want to do, we'll say no. Contractors oftentimes are a little hungrier and need to say yes to things. So when I first started out, I might have said yes to things that I might not have been entirely, had a deep set of skill sets in, because you wanted the business.
Yep. I heard Alex Hermosi say something. I think it was him. He basically said strategy is what you say no to, not what you say yes to. And I was like, ooh, that's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Yeah,
it is like that. But it's true. The more, the better you get at this, and the more you grow your agency or business in general, you're saying no to more than you're actually saying yes to as you go. We turn down more leads than we take in. We turn down more work than we take on. It's just because it doesn't fit the model we built for ourselves and the assembly line that we're wanting. And Mark, I know you're going through the same thing, and Nick, I know you go through the same thing.
Yeah.
The other thing is that when you work in an agency, we work with a wide array of clients. You learn a lot from that wide array that you might not learn if you have 5 clients that you're managing. So we learn from, a little bit from every experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you touched on something there that we could say to anybody that's going from a consultant to an agency. Or there's a lot of consultants out there that I know that are trying to turn themselves into being a full-on agency, but you hit on the right on the head there with the saying no more. And that's something I tell I tell people when I talk to them, like, well, how do you do this or this? Like, you have to get disciplined in saying no to people.
Yep.
You have to know that, yeah, that sounds like a good idea, unless that's a niche or unless that's something that you're trying to work on or wanting to learn, to add to your arsenal. Walk away from that and be nice about it too. Like, a very good example is we don't do what Ed does really well. So we introduce Ed to a couple people. Typically it's a couple people a month lately, but hey, we don't do that. We've got the best in the business that does that. Everybody thinks, well, real estate's real estate, so you probably do cash for homes. No, we don't. It's just not.
And we don't do retail.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's the same boat.
Yeah.
You nailed it, man. You got to be nice about it, but it's you're going to upset your team. You're going to break your internal system.
Right.
You start saying yes to things you shouldn't be.
Yep.
That was my specialty.
Yeah.
For quite a while. Yeah. Just pissing off the team. And
yeah. I hear you. If you're watching this and you're stuck having a hard time saying no or coming up with strategy for your business, an awesome book on the topic is The Pumpkin Plan by Michael Michalowicz, guy from Clockwork and Profit First and a bunch of Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, a bunch of good books. He's an awesome author. Pumpkin Plan is about basically identifying your best customers and getting more of them and saying no, basically putting the blinders on to everything else around you. So if you're stuck on it and want a book on strategy, highly recommend that. If you guys haven't read that, it's an awesome book.
Pumpkin Plan. I'll put that on the list.
Well, when you look at hiring an agency as opposed to a contractor, when we look at whether we can offer a service, we have to look at, can we truly build it into our platforms? Do we have systems for it? Do we have processes for it? Can we ensure it's done correctly?
Mm-hmm.
So it behooves us to say no sometimes, but to that contractor, they might be more willing to just say, yes, I'll figure it out. I've said that in my head a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I know I can figure it out. And then you have to go figure out a new platform that you have never worked in before or something.
Yep.
Yeah. And we also do, as Nick was saying, I think Nick and I were trying to throw clients back and forth a couple of weeks ago. And I've got a friend that's just e-commerce. So when something complicated comes up that's e-commerce, I just say, this is the guy you should talk to.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. E-com was one of those things that we pushed away. I want to say one thing about saying no to clients. There's certain niches that we don't operate in just because the margin might be low and it's going to be hard for them to get enough clicks, to get enough leads, to get enough jobs, to get an ROI on not just the ad budget, but a management fee. And what I want to mention is it doesn't mean that Google Ads isn't good for you. It just means that having a management company managing it for you isn't probably a good fit. And in that case, you probably need to learn it yourself. And then you just got to ask yourself, is it worth your time to learn how to do this skill or find another lead source? So you just have to weigh the pros and cons of that. And I have that conversation with people sometimes that we turn away and they're like, why? It seems like it'd be a good fit. And I'm like, yeah, but at your current budget, do you think it makes sense based on everything we know? My competitor is doing, yeah, but your competitor is spending $5,000 a month. Think about the amount of leads, jobs, customers they're getting and the return they're getting versus spending 500. So just do that math out. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I hear that sometimes and I don't want to shy people away from Google Ads. I just want to strategically shy them away if it's not good for their budget based on what they're spending.
Right. Yeah. That's a great point.
Cool. What else you guys got?
You want to talk about reporting, what you guys do and how you use it in your agency?
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing.
Okay. So right now we're going to talk about Google Ads reporting. This is for the editors that are watching this. So Google Ads reporting software, Google Ads reporting, whatever you want to call it. On our end, we use Swydo. If you guys are watching it, I have no idea how to pronounce the name of your business and have not for the last 5 years. SYWDO or SWYDO. I have no idea.
I thought Swydo as well.
Swydo, okay.
Or Swydo, yeah.
No idea. We pay them a lot of money. And I have no idea. Yeah, Rob hit me up the other day. We were paying, I don't know, $600 a month for reporting. And he's like, that's too much. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like $2 a client. Who really like those things keep going up as we go. So don't time that. It's just a cost of doing business.
Yep.
What are you guys using for reporting? Nick, what do you got?
We use Google Data Studio and then Supermetrics to pull in Bing and Facebook if they're doing that as well. It's free. So Supermetrics I think costs $100, but other than that, it's unlimited clients for about $100 a month. And we can customize those reports. Like that's one thing Google really nailed, I think, is that Data Studio and giving you that power to create that any way you want it.
Yep. And I know Dustin uses Data Studio as well. Is it something where you create one template and then you can layer it in, or you have to do a custom build every single time?
One template, you
takes
can
like 5 minutes to knock them out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's legit. Link never changes. So we send a link out to our clients each week, 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. Here's your report for last week's ads. They can go and save that link. They can go to it and reference it. If they ask us questions like how much have I spent in the last 2 months, we send them a link to their Data Studio. So instead of answering that question, we send them that link with the time that they asked. And then again, point out to them, hey, you can go and look at this at any time. You don't have to ask us. You can find this yourself, to sort of train them. So we're training our employees on, or our clients on, hey, go to your reports, look at it here. If you want to know real time, here's your data. Here's everything that you have. It arms them with the ability to conversate with us. When we talk to them once a month, what they're seeing on their side, what we're seeing on our side. So it really is valuable for us in that sense.
Strategically, why Sunday?
Why Sunday? Because it's not Monday. Because when you get a report like that and you have some downtime. So I work in the real estate industry, and there are some agents that have a lot of downtime, just the way it is. If they get that report at 9 a.m. on Monday, I could almost guarantee you we would have 15 calls a morning on Monday. Sunday we'll get some emails, and we gear that sort of, hey, come. If you got a question, go to support@drivenleads.com into the ticket system. And I'm open and honest on how I manage my clients. I mean, they know what I'm doing when I'm doing that Jedi mind trick to them, right? But yeah, it's on Sunday, so we don't have a massive influx every day of calling and being like, why do you think this week was worse than last week? Well, it was 80 degrees out and it wasn't 50 degrees out, and it's spring and the interest rates are up. Like there's all kinds of things that go into a one bad week over top of the last 30 being really good. So we try to steer, like we always did Sunday, and I tell them it's when you're having your Sunday morning coffee and relaxing, go ahead and look at this. And, maybe you go to church after that and you're not as mad at me, or maybe you're over the moon happy with me still, and you're going to want to send out a kudos. We do the first of the month as well. So first of every month is a very busy day for us because they're getting their reports at 9 a.m. They're making phone calls, they're calling us, they're sending in tickets. So it's the nature of the beast. When you've got 160 some odd people on the line, it can be a little bit nerve wracking if we send it out during the weekday.
Got it. Monday mornings, give it a case of the Mondays. Oh yeah. I get that. And God forbid Spadoo sends a blank report, which does happen. Clients will be like, did this really happen? Did nothing happen? I'm like, well, did your card get charged this week?
Right.
That does happen. Mark, what do you got? Who do you use?
We used to use Sunny Reports, which I loved. It's a Google Ads specific reporting tool, and it was super colorful. You got this many leads, cost this much, here's some data. You can send it out on a monthly. We usually send it out the third of the month. The coolest thing about that was it could tell you if anyone had actually looked at the report. And like 75% of people never looked at the report ever. We ended up going with Google Data Studio just because it makes a lot of sense. You can pull the data at any time. You can pull your own dates. It's free. So we use Google Data Studio, and then What Converts, the call tracking system that we use, we integrate the forms into What Converts so that they get a monthly report that just says you got 19 calls, you got 10 form conversion leads, and it's a nice way to summarize. So they kind of get both angles on there.
With What Converts, do they get a sub account they have access to? Yeah,
they have access to their account. They can mark their leads. They can mark them as qualified, not qualified, that sort of thing. Sold, attach revenue to them, that sort of thing. Get in there, listen to their own calls and everything. And there are a handful of clients that we do a summary for, because some need, for whatever reason, they need, what did you guys do? What are you doing next, type of thing. And then basically we'll put together a manual, a couple of paragraphs for those folks.
Got it. And of what percentage of clients are you doing that for?
5%. Yeah. It's a very small number of clients. Some of the old e-commerce clients that we used to deal with because they want to know a lot more numbers. And then some agencies that want to meet with their clients and have something to say. You know, it's the old, you got to feed the account manager something
Yep.
to tell the client.
Yep.
Yeah. Got it. Okay.
The other big thing of note, and I would guess that Swadoo or whatever he used to call it offers this as well, is Data Studio offers you an opportunity to bake in your fees if you want into your cost per clicks and cost per account. Like they've adjusted that. We don't do that. I also say with the caveat, like be transparent with anybody you work with. If you're an agency and you're charging 10% of ad spend and you're talking, if you're talking $50,000 to $20,000, that's a significant amount of money you're paying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We have people that just will cook in 10% into, I've seen that on Data Studio reports where they just have that in there. And then they put an asterisk at the below saying, this is including your management fee.
So you just add a percentage and
Yeah.
it adds that automatically. That's it.
Yeah, you can juice it 10%. Yeah, you can juice it whatever you want, but yeah, that was pretty interesting. We took over an account that we were asking the guy, like, what are you being charged? He's like, I don't know. They never told me. Like, they had to tell you something. Then we found it. It was 10% was on top of it, but he was appalled to know he was spending that much and wasn't being told about it. But I think it was just a miscommunication between the agency and the client. But
Is
at the
that a
same
scenario
time,
where the full budget is going into via check or credit card into the client, and then the client?
I would guess so. Yeah, I would guess they were probably doing an ACH into the client or into the agency, and then they were taking their part and then putting the rest into Google.
Got it. Okay, that's another one. We have the way we do it. Do your customers own their accounts, or do you own the accounts?
Pass.
Okay.
Customers own their account, and I never pay ad spend.
Got it.
Yeah, it depends. Like I say on everything in life, it depends. So we have some clients that have lender agent or lender loan officers that are doing a marketing share. So we'll have 2 cards in there, and we're going in and manually hitting both those cards. We have a very minimal amount of agents and brokers that own the account and have access to it, because out of the 20 that have ever had access to it, 4 or 5 of them have messed them up enough to have suspensions, or they, with us not having a setup fee, not having a contract, then if we were to set it up and hand it to them day one, they could kick us out, walk away. And you're going to be shocked to hear this. In the real estate industry, there are some unsavory individuals. So
that is pretty shocking.
We've had that happen before. One of them was kind of funny because talked a great game, told us all the right reasons on why he needed that account. Said, yeah, that's fine. Just make sure you do 90 days with us, and we're gonna, we'll sort of bake in that setup fee to that. Came in after 15 days, we're getting them good numbers, and quit, and said, and didn't really turn it on us and say it was all our fault. Said, hey, I had some unexpected things that happened. They're never smart enough to disconnect us from their analytics, right? So the account goes dead and then turns back on in 5 days. And then I get a message from one of the outside managers that we were using at the time. He reaches out and he's like, hey, isn't this guy your client? Because he just signed up with me to do it at a much discounted rate. Said he had a perfect account set up. And I'm like, yeah, he is. And they go, so you have an option. You can be fired or you can go work with him. And then I reached out to that agent, was like, hey, you're the problem. Like, you being just being this kind of human, that's bad karma. It'll end up coming back to him in the long run. But yeah, we typically don't give them access. Now, if they're leaving and they've been with us for X amount of months, if they want the account, we'll send the account, change ownership, and have them take it with them. I don't have any qualms about that. It's just, there are too many people in our industry or in our niche that are trying to figure out what we're doing. And every time, without fail, every time they have a conversation with one of our clients tell us this, like, well, can you open up the account so we can see it? Like, no, he doesn't give me access to it. That's smart.
Yep.
Like, we're pretty transparent too. Like, in Google Analytics, you can see everything that you need to see. If you want any screenshots, if you want to do any Zoom calls with us, we'll do it. Again, if they push really hard, we'll give them access to it, but then we're going to let them know if you get this account suspended or if you mess something up, it's going to show in change history, and you can't come back and blame us for things that happen. That's what they're paying us for, right?
Yep. Yeah. We had a client the other day email about declining performance over the last 2 weeks. And you go into change history and it was like 300 changes.
Yeah.
Really random stuff. Broad traffic added in, bid changes, daily budget changes. So change the target CPA in half, cut the budget in half, add in broad traffic. And it's like, I don't know why.
Well, they took the recommendations from Google.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Was it more than likely they got a phone call from the Google rep who doesn't work for Google? Yeah.
Yep. I got one of those guys. This friggin' dude put a calendar invite on my calendar, and I was like, decline. He's like, I saw that you declined my invite. I'm like, no, I think we're good. Thank you for the invitation, though.
Right.
Appreciate it. Are you guys going to head to Miami in July for 7-figure agency?
I think I am. I got a review with the boss, but I'm pretty sure I'll be down there.
Nice.
Yeah, I will not, because I'm not yet a member of the inner circle.
Come on, get in there.
You come down as a guest.
Yeah, you could be a guest.
You can come out as my guest or Ed's guest or anybody's guest.
Then yes, I'll be there in July. That sounds like a good place to be in July.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's a good event. It's good to network, and you always learn something new there. There's always good speakers, but more importantly, just getting around people in it.
Yeah.
I think Rob's going to go too.
What's the dates? Do you know off the top of your head?
27th,
26th, 27th, I think. Yeah.
Well, my birthday is the 25th, so we can celebrate.
There you go.
Anyway, that sounds good.
You know, it's going to sound ridiculous, but the Miami airport, there's a great Cuban restaurant in the Miami airport.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which is a shocker. A Cuban restaurant in Miami.
So we can just land and go eat and drink right away.
Basically, I ate like 6 empanadas, like walking out of the airport. It was awesome. Awesome. All right. You guys got anything else you want to throw in?
I don't think so, man.
Cool.
No, we're good.
All right. Until next week, I will talk to you guys later.
All right. Thank you.
You guys want to drop who you are, what you do, anything like that? I think people know you by now. If not, I'll drop links in the description.
Yeah, drop links in the description.
Yeah,
they know how awesome.
All right. See you guys.
If they want to get a hold of us, so we'll let them call you first.
Perfect.
Take our calls for us.
All right.
See you guys.